Presupposition and independent type semantics. The presenter is Hayate Funakura.
Thank you, Oshima-san, and many thanks to the organizers. Today, I'm going to talk about semantic analysis of direct questions in dependent type semantics. I'm Hayate Funakura from Kyoto University. And this is the role picture of this talk. And to begin, let's see the overview. In this study, I have provided analysis of who and which questions in dependent type semantics. And I call dependent type semantics as DDS for short. And the preceding analysis provided by Watanabe and others analyzes who questions and pull-up questions and alternative questions. And only direct questions are considered. Then I analyzed both direct and embedded questions and define semantic composition. And this analysis captures a few facts, including questions of relationships, presupposition, and exhaustivity. And but as for embedded questions, only factive predicates such as no are considered. Then I'll show you a very brief explanation of the theoretical basis dependent type semantics. And DDS is a semantic framework that is an extension of dependent type theory proposed by Malcolm. And DDS is an inference system of dependent type theory plus unspecified terms, which are represented as @mark and pronounced as aspirand. And in DDS, various phenomena, including anaphora and presupposition and entailment, accounted for through formally defined inference. The meaning of natural language is represented by types, and these are examples. And each type corresponds to some proposition by Carry-Hard correspondence. And DDS accounts for anaphora and presupposition in a unified way. And the key item is unspecified terms. And it is somehow abstract, but if a semantic representation R contains an unspecified term, and for R to be well-formed, that is, R has the type, a first term of the same type as aspirand must be constructed from the preceding context, that is presupposed. And for example, John knows that Susan danced presupposes Susan danced. The type of inference is called factive presupposition. And at first, John knows that Susan danced is assigned this semantic representation by combinatory categorical grammar. And this representation contains the unspecified term here. Therefore, for this representation to be well-formed, a proof term of the same type as aspirand must be constructed from the preceding context. And through the type checking for this representation, it is shown that aspirand has this type dance S, and this is the semantic representation of the sentence presupposed. And a proof term of dance S must be constructed from the preceding context that is presupposed. Okay, then let's see what I seek to account for. And let's think about how we can answer the question who danced. It is said that there are at least 3 levels of answers to a double question depending on context. So the first one mentions only one person who danced, and the second one mentions every person who danced, and the third one mentions every person who danced and every person who didn't dance. And they are called mention some answers, weakly exhaustive answers, strongly exhaustive answers, respectively. And most approaches, including Watanabe and others' work, have attempted to capture these answer levels by assuming the ambiguity of interrogatives. So mention some double question have this type. Strongly exhaustive double question has such types and so on. But the proposed analysis captured a variety of answers based on a single semantic representation of each interrogative. The next topic is exhaustivity. And there is ambiguity about exhaustivity in question-embedded sentences. For example, Annie knows who danced has these three interpretations at least. The first one is that Annie knows at least one positive answer to who danced. And the second one is that Annie knows every positive answer to who danced. And the final one is that Annie knows every positive answer and every negative answer to who danced. And they also called mentioned some exhaustive and strongly exhaustive, respectively. And a related inference is that if John knows who danced and Mary didn't dance, therefore John knows that Mary didn't dance. This inference is valid only under the strongly exhaustive rating of John knows who danced. And when we naively combine the Watanabe and others' work and Tanaka and others' work for factive predicates, we get this semantic representation for John knows who danced under the strongly exhaustive rating. Because this representation is the basic predicate argument structure, this representation doesn't capture the above inference unless some additional axiom is added. But I think it is more desirable that the semantic representation by itself evokes inferences if we think semantic representations must be evaluated by their inferential behavior. And the final is about existential presupposition. It is said that factive predicates that take a double complement trigger an existential presupposition. That is, for example, John knows who danced presupposes someone danced. And it is also widely known that factive predicates trigger a factive presupposition. For example, John knows that Sue smokes, presupposes Sue smokes. In addition, the declarative taking and interrogative taking node has the same meaning because a single node can take both interrogative and declarative, as this example shows. So I aim to find an analysis that captures the following phenomena, and about the last two requirements, I should not assume the ambiguity of no. And as for the semantic representation of no, I adapted one presented by Tanaka and others, such as this. Okay, let's see my proposal. I analyze root questions as sigma types. And this is almost the same as existential quantifications. For example, who danced has this type, and this informally means there is an X such that X danced. And to derive these representations, I defined the following lexical entries. And thirdly, building on Watanabe and others' work, I define answerhood by entirement. And simply put, if SA entails this is a type, and this is also a type. If SA entails or contradicts SQ, SA is an answer to SQ. So since John danced entails who danced, so John danced is predicted to be an answer to the question who danced. And during the Susan danced also entails who danced, so it is predicted to be an answer to the question who danced. And nobody danced contradicts who danced, so it is predicted to be an answer. But for example, Bill Brown does not entail or contradicts who danced, so it is predicted not to be an answer, to be not an answer. Okay, this is CCZ derivation, which maps, which assigns the semantic representation to the question who danced. And as you can see, a WH word creates a lambda abstract. And this empty operator is combined with the abstract and into a sigma type. The WH as lambda strategy allows for a fine-grained analysis of embedded questions. For embedded questions, I define 3 empty operators, null MS, null WA, and null SC. And the ambiguity about exhaustivity is reduced to the choice of these operators. These operators appear at the beginning of WH questions. And for example, the strongly exhaustive John knows who danced is assigned this representation. And this part presupposes someone danced. So I can capture factive presupposition, and this part evokes inferences about exhaustivity. For example, this inference I mentioned. John knows who danced and Mary didn't dance, and therefore John knows that Mary didn't dance. It is accounted for through this formal inference. And this part represents John knows who danced, and this part represents Mary didn't dance. And the proved formula represents John knows that Mary didn't dance. Okay. There are many untouched tasks, and I need to analyze other types of interrogatives, and I need to compare with other frameworks, and I need to consider intermediate exhaustivity on another interpretation of embedded WH questions, and many other topics. Okay, and finally, we can I think we can say that the proposal theory can be seen as a hybrid theory that encompasses 2 different approaches to question semantics. And the first one is called propositional answer-oriented approach, and the second one is called short answer-oriented approaches. And according to Krivka, the basic idea of short answer-oriented approaches is that the question meanings are functions that when applied to the meaning of the answer and yield a proposition. And my my analysis treats the average question as itself as lambda abstraction, and this the syntactic category is a function which requires NP to the right. So a short answer such as John can be combined to the question and create a sentence. So this is, I think, just an embodiment of short answer-oriented approaches. But this version of the analysis can only handle the simplest cases, such as John. So I need to sophisticate it further. Okay, it is very early, but I think that's all. And thank you very much.
Okay, let's take some questions or comments.
So thank you very much for thank you very much for an interesting talk. So the idea is to analyze the average questions in terms of the stigma type in DTS, right?
Yeah.
And I was wondering if how this proposal compares to more widely entertained analysis of interrogatives in the formal semantics literature, such as the Hamlin semantics and Kartner semantics. So could you comment on that a bit more?
Okay. Thank you for your question. And I think this analysis, the explanatory power of this analysis is very similar to that of inquisitive semantics, right? And it's about because and this analysis is somehow, I think, overgenerating, but sorry, I don't work on this program. Sorry, the answer is I don't know.
Okay, yeah, but I was wondering if, so it may be that in terms of empirical coverage, it's more or less the same as other approaches, but I mean, like, how about, like, could you make some conceptual argument for preferring this kind of perspective over, more standard model theoretic approaches to meaning, especially in this context, the meaning of questions?
I think one advantage of this treatment, is that this analysis is based on DDS, and DDS is proposed independently. DDS is independent of questions and independently motivated. But Kartner semantics and inquisitive semantics are, I think, very motivated by question meanings. So so I think I can say this analysis is on more general idea of dependent type semantics.
Okay, thank you. I mean, I have more questions, but I think we should do it offline. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Sumio Nishiguchi on Zoom, you can ask your questions.
Thank you for that presentation. I've been also working on questions from CCG, and I'm curious about the question like what happened. Because the answer could be like a typhoon came or something happened. So I don't know. Perhaps there's entailment, but how would you handle such a question? Like happen is a regular predicate type.
Sorry. Please repeat your question. Sorry.
Like certain questions ask for the event or proposition as an answer. Like what happened? So you can say an earthquake happened, but you can say something brand new, like a typhoon came, or yeah, something, you know, any proposition can be an answer.
Yes. As for yes, it is so. Yes. Sorry, maybe I can't understand what you mean. Sorry.
Yeah, but anyway, I think you'd get like SWQN sigma type, right? Yeah, for
yes.
any question. Yeah.
Yeah, so the question was about cases where the possible answers for questions are propositions. And yeah, so maybe Nishiguchi-san can elaborate why you think that could be a problem for the proposed analysis.
Yeah, so when I look at 17, yeah, this one. Yeah, so yeah, danced is a predicate type, and who is this type, right? And for a question like what happened, so you present the similar analysis. And maybe the answer doesn't have the predicate happened, but there's entailment.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes the questions like what happened would generate very different types of answers.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, like it rained.
I think this analysis is flexible in this point, and it is not necessary that answer has the format of predicate. And for example, in this analysis, not a predicate. Sorry. I can't make appropriate example. It is not necessary. The answer takes a basic predicate element structure. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, I think we can take questions from Becky-san first, and we will go to Charlie next.
Well, my question is about fundamental things. So in this analysis, the meaning of the semantics is the kind of a felicity condition to answers, right? And this is kind of inherited from the Hamlin's semantics. And on the other hand, basically the meaning, what the meaning representation in BTS represent is the verification position of the sentence. And that is there is a big discrepancy between the idea that meaning is a verification condition and the meaning is a validity condition of answers.
Yeah.
And what I'm wondering is whether it is right to regard the meaning representation of embedded question as the felicity condition for answers. So when well, you can do that, or you can take the other, stance such as, when embedded, it will undergo some operations and take the another form. So do you have any mental ideas on, well, this is fundamental because this is related to the question that what is the meaning of the question?
Thank you. Simply, I don't know, but in the verificational point of view, and with my in my analysis, question meaning is defined in terms of inferential relationships with answers, and answers provide the verificational conditions to questions. So, I don't know, but so far I think the question meaning is something provided by answers.
Okay. So I have this follow-up question, but she means within the
Okay,
so
yeah. Professor Chong Min Lee, it's your turn.
Okay, my question is, you have know the answer as a contradiction to the question, but the two Dutch philosophers or linguists who wrote a single dissertation on questions argue that it's kind of a possible answer. I think a question like who danced has a pragmatic presupposition of somebody danced. I share that kind of intuition with you. So I don't have any objection to the contradiction judgment here. But what would you say about the two philosophers' dissertation position?
I think
Titakov and Cronendijk or something like that.
Cronendijk and Stickle. Cronendijk and Stickle.
oh, okay. I think Grothendieck and Stokoff's analysis is very restrictive and about pragmatic aspects. I didn't think much, but I think it is necessary to connect my analysis with the pragmatic investigations questions. I answered. Have I answered?
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
Okay. Any other, well, we have all the sort of any other brief comment? Okay, I think we can stop here. Thank you very much.
Thank you.